Hello. Welcome to another weekly feedback stream. We're going to take a listen to some tracks that got sent in. If you want to have a chance to take part in this sort of thing, hop on my Discord server. Link is everywhere. Why is my mic weird? Okay, it's not weird according to the chat, so we're good. Okay, hop on my Discord channel. There's links everywhere, all over the place. Discord.gg / Fowler Music. Let's hop in. I'd like to plow through these as efficiently as possible this time, so we don't go for like 2.5 hours, which is I think what we did last time. We've got 16 submissions this week. And we're going to start off with this one, which is Catter to the Sky. So let's check it out. Okay, so intro. So I like this intro. I almost want to hear like a little bit of wobble, or what's it called? Wow and flutter. There's like kind of like a lo-fi effect on the guitar thing. I think that could be cool to kind of add to that lo-fi-ness. I really dig it up until it gets into this like... This just, to me, sounds a little too expected, you know? Like, maybe get a little more creative with this build-up. Okay, I see some chats coming through. Honestly, the order is whatever FL Studio decided to set it as. I drug and dropped them into FL Studio, so that's the order. Okay, the drop, besides the build-up being a little kind of, I don't know, predictable, the drop, I think, is you've got like this super bright super saw chord thing going, which is cool, and you've got like a sub bass, but I don't know, like, there's not, like, I almost feel like you need another bass to tie those two elements together, because you've got this pure sub bass and you've got this super bright, airy super saw, right? But I think having kind of like a dirty, like sawtooth, distorted sawtooth bass might connect those two things a little bit better. Yeah, to me, it kind of sounds like there's two elements. There's super bright and super deep, but I don't have any of that kind of mid-range. So I think that's what I'm looking for in the drop. And maybe lean into the Reese sound a little bit more, like get a little bit more dirt on the Reese sound, more Reese-y Reese, right? Melodically, it's sick. I think it could definitely use some vocal. If you have some local songwriters that you could maybe get some sort of vocal on top, that might really take it far. So let's skip forward to the... Yeah, I like the four to the floor thing, but the super saws are just so on top of everything else. I'm thinking maybe if you pulled them back or brought in another element that that kind of pushes the mid range a bit more. I think that would help a lot. But it's a dope whip, man. Yeah, it really just try to get something to connect the bright to the deep, and maybe try to work with a songwriter or something. Because I think that's really what this needs too. Is I don't know. I'm not opposed to instrumental music, but this track just kind of sounds like there's lots of room for like a really nice vocal on top, right? Almost like begging for something, but don't go to Splice. Find somebody local or somebody on the internet and write something original. Thank you. Awesome job. Let's move on. Okay, this one looks a little girthy. Let's check her out. Complextro. Got me. Okay, I don't know what the artist or the title is, but let's go. Okay, I like it so far. I can hear a little click right here. Fix that. Thank you. Let it out, just feel it. Let it out, cry it all out to me. When you're down, when your heart stops beating, you got me, you always got me. Let it out, just feel it. Let it out, cry it all out to me. When you're down, when your heart stops beating, you got me, you always. You always got me. Okay, that's the track is cool. The drop, and you can see it in the spectrum over here. It's like sub. Like I can add 6 dB of gain to the mid-range and it doesn't even sound mid-rangey. So I think you got to get the balance right between, again, the bright stuff and the deep stuff. Like the mid-range, I think people stray away from the mid-range because it tends to sound really bad when there's too much of it. But the sub is just overpowering. Like you almost could just where's my mixer? You really, not that you should do this, but like I could probably just go like this, switch this to analog. Like the kick goes away, but I'm pulling 4 dB out of the sub range and it's still, anyway, you get it. The sub's too loud. It's super dope. Like I like the sound design, but it just needs that connective tissue again. I feel like this is like a reoccurring theme, and I don't know. I'm not sure why that is, but I don't know. It is hard. The bass, connecting the bass with everything else is what makes bass music. I think what makes bass music really good. Like having a cohesive wall of sound instead of individual parts that are contributing, right? So yeah, I think that's my biggest feedback on this track, is that the sub is just kind of really doing its own thing, and everything else is just along for the ride. I also, maybe this is like a DJ thing, but like I would maybe just have like I just don't understand the point of this. And again, maybe this is a DJ thing to have this, beat at the start. But But it's a cool start. Get the sub connected to the rest of it, and then continue it. I think it obviously it needs to be fleshed out, so good job. All right, time for Cody. Glasslands. Wow, I can read, I promise. Is that the FL? Is that the FL Studio start sound? It's not, but it sounds like it. He says OTT glitch. Is that what I'm hearing here too? Okay, once it gets to this part, it's like it just steps it up so much. So I'm not. This isn't really doing it for me. I kind of feel like this is a half measure. Like it kind of sounds like the drums are full there, but it hasn't really committed to the drop yet, right? So to me, this part, I wasn't sure if this was the drop or not. I was like, is this the drop and I'm just being disappointed? But once we get to this spot, I'm not disappointed anymore. So I don't know. I think you might want to shorten the intro and have the kick and snare and stuff a little less like drop sounding, so that we don't think that there's a drop happening when there's not a drop happening. Maybe less low end, or just more like percussive style stuff as opposed to like full on dubstep drums. Another thing I noticed was I can hear the sub, and these are all small things, but like I can hear where that sub ends right here. It goes boo, end. It just ends. So maybe be a little smoother, fade it out a little bit smoother. These are small things, but it just kind of contributes. I also noticed that like the sub, and this might be an effect of the being half of a drop sort of thing here, but you can see over on the spectrum where I saved it as the red curve, it's very sub heavy. And I'm thinking it probably sorts itself out once we actually get to the drop. So let's take a listen to that. Yeah, it's definitely, it's much better. Now, if we look at the red curve that I took from the actual drop, it's like, it's fairly flat. It's still a little sub heavy and there's a bit of a dip, which is, it doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line by any means. But I think what's happening here is you've got the sub, like the Reese sub thing and the kick and the snare from the drop, but it doesn't have the rest of the supporting elements of the drop. So what we're getting is kind of elements from the drop on top of an intro. So I would maybe just try shortening the drop, and also that high lead thing. I don't know, it might be personal taste. I'm not a huge fan of the sound of that. It's kind of too high pitched in like the pitch envelope where it goes pew pew pew. It's just a little maybe cheesy, but I like what it's doing. I like the melody. It's just that the pitch envelope thing to me is, again, maybe personal taste. So once we get into the drop, things sound a lot better. There's like cool sound design. The kick kind of feels on top of the mix to me. I don't really know why. It sounds like amplitude-wise, it's louder than the sub or something. Let's have a listen just to the sub range. It might just be like, it might, I don't know if the kick is too loud, and it doesn't sound like the fundamentals too loud. It almost sounds like the next harmonic up. So like low mids or something, there's too much energy in that area. Maybe if you just dip some of the like 200 to 500 hertz down a little bit. To me, it just like if you mute the kick, everything kind of feels like a glued together thing, and then you just have this like kick that's like punching. It could be the wrong kick sound. It could be just a mix like too loud. Could be an EQ thing. But I do notice that it feels a little bit on top of everything else. I'm wondering if it's the sidechain length, because we can kind of see this kick sample and then we see the recovery of the sidechain here. So I'm wondering if maybe the sidechain's dipping down and just taking too long to come back up to the full volume. I kind of think that the drums aren't quite up to the energy level as everything else. Like the kick and snares, well, the kick has that issue. The snare sounds fine, but we just kind of have like one hi-hat or ride or something going. So maybe a little bit more going on in the drums might help as well. I know it might get a little crowded because like the pads or the chords and the lead are all very high frequency, so be careful with it, but I think it needs a little bit more rocking of drums. Melodically, it's awesome. Like same as the last one you sent in last week. It's musically, it's dope. Yeah, I think it really is like the intro kind of needs quite a bit of work, but if we ignore the intro and just go from kind of here over, it's mostly just that getting that kick to feel like it is integrated with the song a little bit more. And then maybe just getting a little bit more hypeness into the rest of the drums. That's my feedback. I think that's pretty much it, man. It sounds really good otherwise. So let's move on. Corteo Tituan. I'm sorry if that is not how you say that, but that's how I say that, apparently. Did we hear this last week? Did I? Oh, maybe it's been updated. I feel like my notes last time, I'm having a hard time remembering, but I think it was that the 808 just ringing out through the intro is not doing anything for it harmonically. I'm sorry if you've done work to this. I honestly don't remember exactly what it sounds like from last week. I'll give you some quick feedback on it as if you just sent it in. I get it. It's like I enjoy the wonkiness of it. I think that's what I said last week too. The meme sounds, like if you're going for like a meme style track, I guess you got to have the meme sounds. To me, I'm not really looking for memes stuff for tracks that I want to listen to, although I guess I did make some memey stuff, so who am I to talk? But yeah, I would try to figure out a chord progression. I think that's going to be my main feedback for this one for today is it's not really doing anything for me in these breakdown sections. So maybe having some sort of chord progression that works around the melody a little bit, although the melody is not exactly... The melody kind of reminds me of the first generation Pokemon games for the Game Boy. When you're in like the spooky town, I can't remember what it's called. When you're looking for the something. Anyway, I don't know. I honestly I like the wonkiness of the drop. I think try to find some chords that work with the melody is probably going to. Yes, Lavender Town, thank you. I think that's probably going to be your best bet. And then try to massage the melody a little bit. Once you get some chords going, maybe that influences the melody and gives you more ideas. Because, like, you got some cool sounds in here, but I think that... I think you got to find chord progression and tweak the melody to fit. So, we'll move on. Okay, Ezwin, I don't know what to call this. Sorry, Nick, it doesn't have a name, but you can just refer to it as this name on stream. I think that would be pretty fun. I think I nailed that. So here we go, Ezwin. And hey, it's not I just saw your chat come through. It's not a noob level. It's just you know, we're all at different stages in our production careers or paths, and if that's okay. I think you just got to play around with the chords and and go from there. Oh, the name got cut off, Ezwin says. Well, anyway, that's as far as I'm going to read it. So. Okay, first of all, I would maybe chop this in half. Or put another element in there to keep my attention. This is a really cool groove. If I was in school, I could definitely see myself studying to this beat. I think the kick, I like the crunchy kind of lo-fi sound of the kick, but I don't know, I'm kind of torn on it. I like it, but I'm wondering if you maybe only used it on like the downbeat kicks, or maybe you kind of, I don't know. It's always there with the kick, kind of makes the kick feel static or something. Syringe waveform, yep. I definitely think this is a great start. You need some, like, bright elements, melody, maybe, like, something that sounds like it could have came off of an old record, but don't actually sample it unless you wanna get it cleared. Yeah, it's a dope start. Yeah, it's great, man. I think my only real feedback is like to continue it. I don't know. It sounds dope. And I also fully support the injection type beat or hypodermic type beat. It's a syringe. I mean, there's no beating around the bush. All right, let's move on. Ever Birdie, farewell. Okay. I think when it gets to this drop, what you should do is solo all of your kind of chord stab things and make sure that all of the notes are playing well with each other. I'm hearing some dissonance. It might be reverb delay, but there's some notes on top of other notes that may or may not be working perfectly great. So I also think you have like an explosion sound or like a sub hit or something like that. I think it's it's that spot that I'm hearing the dissonance. So if you like get rid of the drums and everything and just listen to the chord things on top of each other, I think you're gonna find that there's like some notes that are one semitone away from each other and they're doing this sort of thing. So be a little more careful with that. I also found that the drop just kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the end of the bars where you go dan 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 like that. I think is not, the chords aren't playing nice. Yeah, harmonically, it kind of gets a little messy there too. Maybe consider putting a little more interesting elements into the drums. The by followers. The drums are very simple, and that's not always a bad thing. But where the track is is a slower tempo, we have kick, hat, snare, hat, kick, hat, snare. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of room for stuff in. So get rid of that explosion sound on the drop, because all it's doing is muddying up the bottom end, like the bass sound. We don't really hear that it's an explosion as much as we just hear like the low end is a mess for the first 2 seconds of the drop. So yeah, do that. Be a little more careful with layering harmonic stuff on top of each other, because it is getting a little messy in certain parts, especially once you start. Yeah, there's some kind of piano things happening or something in that I can't quite put my finger on. So just I find it useful when stuff gets a little dense like that to just maybe solo all of the harmonic stuff, get rid of everything else, listen to it, and then if it's still too much of a mess, like pick the main sound, solo it, make sure it's all good by itself, then add one thing at a time. Add the next layer. Make sure that when you add that layer, it's not getting messy. And if you're all good, then add the next layer. And then eventually you'll get to all of your harmonic things. They'll all be working together great. So that's my main. Maybe spice up the chords a little. The chords sound a little kind of like just like your typical 4-chord pop kind of progression. And there's nothing wrong with that progression, but sometimes just maybe inverting some of the notes and moving things around, maybe a 7th chord or something, just to add a little bit of flavor might help. But yeah, other than that, good job. Let's go on to the next one. Grim Wolf with his original Got Me. Okay, the kick is a little knocky. Like there's a lot of energy up in the second harmonic. I'm trying to figure out how to explain that. Like, okay, so this is like your fundamental down here. Yeah, so it's that second harmonic is causing the kick to, like, if we do MS Paint, like if this is the frequency and this is like your kick, you would kind of expect it to kind of follow this sort of harmonic curve of a kick, but yours kind of sounds like this. Like you got your fundamental, you got your second harmonic, and then it starts going down. That's the best I could do to explain it using MS Paint. I hope that makes sense.
Just feel it, let it out, cry it all out to me when you're down.
Okay, the vocals are a little dull or something. There's not a lot of high end happening.
I'll cry it all out to me when you're down, when your heart's let it out, just feel it, let it out, cry it all out to me when you're down, when your heart stops beating. You got me, you always got me.
Okay, this is cool.
You got me, you always got me.
Yeah. I'm wondering about this, how it, when I was looking at it before, I was like, I'm not sure where the drop is. Visually, it's a little hard to see. It could be a little bit of mastering that could fix that, but I'm wondering. It's funny because it doesn't sound as bad as it looks, you know what I mean? Like, I was looking at this and I was like, oh man, is that going to be a big letdown when it gets to the drop? It doesn't sound like it. That's why I'm having a hard time figuring out how to fix this. It might be a matter of, instead of fixing this, maybe you're fixing this. You're bringing you're bringing that stuff down, and then once you bring these builds down, which appear to be the loudest parts of the song, once you bring all those builds down, then you can push everything up a bit more and get a bit more loudness out of it. Though it sounds loud. I mean, it doesn't look loud, but it sounds loud. I think, okay, you've done this twice. Just don't do that. Like instead, maybe just jump over to, you know, right into. Obviously, I don't know the tempo of it, but you know what I mean. Like the kind of drop out and build back up. It gets kind of old if you use it more than once. You kind of have to use that stuff sparingly.
You always got me.
There as well.
You always got me. You always got me.
Yeah, it's a cool track. I like the drop. I think really, and this is a piece of advice that I remember getting at some point. I don't remember who told me or when it was, but they're like, make the drop first and then then make the build up, because you get yourself into a situation where you spend all this time. And I'm not saying do or don't do this. I think there is some merit to it. I don't think you should just blindly follow this advice, but when you spend a bunch of time building a big epic build up and then you start making the drop, you know, you've spent all this time making this epic build up and then you're like, okay, kick drum and bass, and now the drop sounds like shit, and it kind of like makes you feel poopy, right? Because you've just have this massive drop and then it's a letdown because it just takes time to build the drop. So maybe like, and maybe you did it that way. I'm not saying you didn't do it that way, but that just reminded me of that piece of advice. Sometimes I will heed that. I might not necessarily start at the drop, but I might just not put much time into the build up until I know where it's going, and I build the drop and then I make the build up go to the drop. So that might help you. Otherwise, it sounds pretty good. I don't know where the vocals came from. They do sound a little ripped off YouTube. I'm not saying that's where they are. That's where they're from, but they have that kind of low quality sound to them because there's not much high end. Maybe it's just because you tune them down or something.
You got me. You always got me.
Yeah, they're pretty. I don't know. They're okay. I like what they're doing. I like the lyrics. I like the melody. They just do have a bit of a. Yeah. Okay. I see. You put a formant shifter on them, so you know. Maybe you try something creative, like take the dry vocals, high pass them up to like 10,000 hertz. So that you don't really hear the formants, all you hear is the air, and then layer that in and bring it up until it brings back the air. Because when you formant shift everything down, now all of that air is gone. So you might be able to get away with that. There might be some other way. Maybe it's just a boost or a multi-bearing compressor. But I do find them kind of dull, which gives the whole track a bit of like a haze to it. All right. Good job, though. Let's move on. All right. Jacob with the... he told me how to pronounce it last time, and I'm sorry, Jacob, I forget. Wait. Hyreth Inc. I don't think that's right. Here we go.
Ethereal, something from a dream. I'm temporary, but you know you're mine forever. Ethereal, when I'm half asleep, I think I see you, but my eyes are clouded over. I'm devoted to you. I know we'll go down together.
Okay. I really like I like the intro. I like the beeps and boops. I'm pretty sure that is that your girlfriend singing? I love that it's an original, you know, like it's an original song. I think I don't know what that was. I think the drop, maybe consider, I don't know why my Steam is going insane. Anyway, I think the drop with the vocals is a tough sell. Because you're asking a lot from our ears. Like, we're trying to listen to the vocal, but we're also trying to listen to this highly compressed sidechain beat. Like, why not put the vocalist over here? right? Like, or have a dumbed down version, more simplistic, less compressed, more room for the vocals. I just feel like the vocals are really struggling and fighting for our attention. And instead we're paying more attention to like the kick drum that's like making everything, including the vocals, dip.
Ethereal, something from a dream. I'm temporary, but you know you're mine forever.
Like maybe do exactly what you're doing, but take out the big drums, the kick and the snare and the stuff that's causing the sidechain. Keep like the glitchy stuff, keep like the percussive stuff, and then
Ethereal, when I'm half asleep, I know we'll go down together.
and then like save the drop for here. Or something. There's a lot of this stuff happening.
Down together.
A lot of that.
Down together.
This is super cool. There's so much happening, and that is both a good thing and a bad thing. I really do think that I think the arrangement could be better, and that's going to help with the vocals too. I also, side note, I think the vocals are a little too muffly or a little too, I don't know, there's not enough high end or something in the vocals.
Something from a dream. I'm temporary, but you know you're mine forever.
Or too much fundamental. So one thing that you might find is when if we had a part where she was just singing.
Ethereal, something from a dream. I'm temporary, but you know you're mine forever.
Yeah, right about there, right in like that kind of 200 to 300 hertz. 200 to 300 hertz range. Her vocals are a little too much. If this was an EQ on her vocal, I would probably do this, and I'd probably do like this. So maybe give that a shot. That's what I would suggest. But then it's like basically go take inventory of all of the stuff you have in this track, because you have a lot of stuff. Take inventory of it and then try to deploy those elements in the most strategic way as possible. Because right now I just kind of feel like it's happening. Like you're giving us all of these things, but maybe not in the most strategic way. Like I'm kind of like, oh, here's this thing now, like, and sometimes that's cool, but I think that I did that for every section of this. So
Down together.
and generally, I feel like it's a little too hot on the master. I know it's kind of the style of the music. This is insane. And I kind of respect that you've done that, but at the same time, my ears kind of don't respect it. Yeah, there's tons of really cool stuff. I think it maybe it's just the frequency, like yeah, I think, okay, here's the thing. I think being cooked like that, super hot, is cool. I just think that it's a frequency thing. Those high mids being that loud are just a little abrasive. So maybe it's just, if you pulled those frequencies back, you'd be able to hit us that hard without any real downside. Yeah, man, there's so much cool shit happening in this. Like, this track is full of gold. I think you just need to save it as a new file and then totally cut it up and move it around and just don't be afraid to mess it up and see if you can find a better arrangement. I don't know. I think there's gold in here. I just think that it could be presented a little bit more strategically. And try to maybe have the vocalist have her own section where she's not fighting with the main drums, and get rid of some of those harsh sounds, and that's about it. And then it's a dope track. That's really cool. Also, I think you showed this to me like 3 years ago, and I remember it, so that's a good sign. Okay, Raham, here we go. We've got solid 6 dB of headroom. I'm just gonna go ahead and absolutely get rid of that. Oh, whoops. This is a very interesting track. I really love when it goes to that part. There's that ba-dum-bum, that thing. I think you should give it its own little section, even if it's just a bar or two, where it's just like that with like a sub bass going underneath or something. It's so cool, but it's kind of it's a little construed. I don't even know if that's a word. Is that a word? Construed, constrained, constrained, by everything else that's going on. It's also a bit like OTT too much or something. And it could be a lot of elements all piling up. I hear like, I think there's two things going. There's the arpeggio thing, and then there sounds like there's something a little bit more sustained, like playing a note, a note, a note. And maybe just take a listen, like mute all the drums and everything. Just listen to everything that's contributing to that high mid range, and maybe be a little bit more strategic with how you carve out frequencies. Like, I just feel like everything has a bit of a hump in that high frequency, like maybe 2 to 6,000 hertz, and those humps just keep adding up, and once you add like 5 or 6 layers, or how many layers are on here, that hump becomes very relevant. So yeah, besides that, it's really also arrangement wise, I can tell this is just like kind of a sketch, but like I think there's opportunity for this section when it switches up to really hit. All that stuff's super pretty. Like, yeah, this is dope. Get a vocalist. Go outside. Walk. Open your door. Walk outside. Just grab a vocalist from outside of your place and pull them in, and then work with them. It's just that easy. Okay. Cool. Great job. Moving on. Okay, we have a very quietly mastered track, which is okay. I have the normalize button. This is actually pretty dope. Honestly, when I saw the waveform, I didn't know what to expect, but I mean, that was amazing. I really enjoyed listening to that. I think it needs mastering. Like if we listen to it. Yeah, man, this just sounds like a really good track that hasn't been mastered yet. I don't even think I have any feedback, to be honest. It's really good. Except get it mastered or master it yourself. Really, the mix is pretty good. Yeah. Dope. Master it. Put it out. MP3s only? No, you can send waves too. But you got to do it in my Discord server. So check out the links in, if you're on Twitch, just go to my about page and you can find me there. That was dope, man. Or girl or whoever. I don't know who that was. It was awesome. Good job. Get it mastered. Make it louder. Let's go. All right, Vivo, pineapple on pizza. That's a controversial topic. Let's listen. Damn, that's some good glitch hop. Sub is too loud. Okay, this is sick. The sub is too loud. There's so many really cool elements that are getting cut in and out, like the slappy bass. Like I need those in my face. I need all those elements in my face. I don't want I don't want to have to listen hard to hear that. And it's not that buried, but like that should be like, whoa, right in my face, you know? I think this style of music really benefits from like just slapping the listener with the most amazing funky shit all the time. And I think yes, I like pineapple on my pizza, just to clarify that. Especially this version of it. But anyway, yeah, if you brought your sub down, honestly, it just kind of sounds like maybe you're mixing without a sub, or your headphones don't have a whole lot of bass in them. But if you look at the spectrum, you can kind of see this big hump in the sub range, and then everything else is fairly well balanced. You know, it's a little scooped maybe in the mids, but otherwise it's all very balanced. It's just that sub is like really in there. So like the piano, it could come up a little bit. It's all the funky instrumentation. Maybe what you could try doing is take all of that funky stuff and send it to a bus and put it through like some compression, and like maybe multiband compression, like a Waves C4 or a C6, or even maybe OTT. I don't know. Be careful. But like, I just feel like those cool elements are just getting buried a little. And the kick, everything's just kind of getting lost when that sub comes in. You can kind of see it here too, right? And also maybe having some sort of sassy little vocal line that's like a cheeky vocal line, not necessarily singing or rapping, but just something, just a little something to slap you in the face with. I don't know, this is dope. Like, yeah, turn the sub down, turn the funk up. Sub down, funk up, hit send, it's done. All right, that's wicked. Great job. Moving on. Vorticity, malfunction, second drop. Okay, so this appears to just be the second drop. That's cool. Nice, throwing back to my chiptune roots here. Okay, this is super cool. I have a piece of advice that I think is going to make this a lot better. When we get to the drop, there's kind of like a bring that there's stuff trailing and echoing. There's stuff. Okay, here's the thing. This buildup has lots of echoing and kind of messy, like reverbed out and delays and arpeggios and stuff going, and it's all very complex and messy. And the way to make this drop stick out, because honestly, if you listen to right here, can you tell which is the drop and which is the build? Not really. So try stripping this back a little bit. Keep all the messiness, keep all the delayed out stuff, and then when we come here, strip it back, pick a couple elements that are really strong, and just have like drums and like the bass and maybe the vocoder thing. Like you just basically, if you think about this, you have this build up with say 10 elements, building, and then a drop with the same 10 elements and the same drums, and it to me, there's no separation between the build up and then the drop that it's building up to. So if you strip that back and just really lean on like the sound design, like like, you know what I mean? Like just relying on more simplistic elements so that that groove really slaps you in the face in a way that it's not doing back here. And I also think I know you high passed it as we're getting close to the drop. So, I mean, you did do that for sure. But I just felt like what you gave us at the drop wasn't different enough than what you gave us in the build. So it kind of felt like you were building up to the build up. But the sound design, the groove is all really cool. Another thing you have to start to think about when you're doing complex music like this is you need to, it's okay to have stuff like flying all over the place, but you need to have something to anchor it like melodically or, and that doesn't mean like a lead, just there has to be some sort of theme because after I'm done listening to this, if I were to try to explain this to somebody with my mouth, it would be very difficult, right? Because it's just like, it's wacky, it's crazy, there's lots of really cool stuff, and there are melodies and patterns in there, but there's just so much stuff happening. Even if you just like every 8 bars or something at the start of the bar, there was like a staple sound that happened, or a like a little like bass line or something that gives it an identity. I think that's going to take it a long way. And again, trying to take inventory of all your cool stuff in here and then pull it all back and deploy it strategically. I don't know why I'm so good at making music sound like it's a scientific process. Maybe I should work on that. Anyways, that's it's a cool track. Mix and master's pretty good. Maybe a little light on the bass. Maybe, no, not light on the bass. Maybe the side chain's just a little too intense or something. I feel like the track's getting sucked out from underneath of us a bit too much. But yeah, try to find a theme, exaggerate that theme or emphasize that theme, and then go crazy with all your complex sound design and stuff, but always try to anchor it in something that I can go to somebody and be like, man, I just heard this song, it goes like this, do, you know? like if you think about, pick one of my songs like Hot, and it's like dun dun da 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 da, you know, it's not really a fair comparison because it's not nearly as complex as this, but that's the only one I can think of right now. So okay, very cool, moving on. Westbrook, Hold On.
Hold on, it's getting too much. Hold on, it's getting too much.
Hold on, it's getting too much. Hold on, it's getting too much. Hold on.
There, now Rayhem and I both, we collabed on the mastering.
Hold on, it's getting too much.
This is really good. This is really, really good. I mean, I'm obviously a huge fan of like this stuff, but this is really good. I want to get here maybe sooner. I don't know. Maybe I'm just impatient. Like maybe take half of this intro and half of this intro sort of thing, and combine them like this. I don't know. I really, really like this drop and I want to get there sooner. Yeah, okay, no, it was better the way you had it, I agree. It sounds good, man. The kick's not too loud like the past couple tracks. Like the mix is pretty good. The vocals are a little harsh. Like right there. Kind of that gravelly part of the voice, it's This is almost one of those places where the Soothe plugin would maybe come in handy. Honestly, dude, I don't know where this vocal came from. If this is a splice vocal, just fine. Like that drop is so cool. The music is so cool. Like go get a vocalist. And maybe you did. Maybe this is a vocalist. Awesome. If this isn't, go find somebody to make this into a track. Like this is a dope track. Man, just finish this track and put it out. It's dope. Like I don't even the vocals are harsh and I don't know where the vocals are from. This song is so good that I would not want you to what's the word I'm looking for? Not that it's not like a waste, but like it's such a good song. Imagine if it was a fully original song with no splice vocal. And again, maybe this vocal is not from Splice. I don't know, but this is a dope song and you should finish it and put it out. Okay, very good. Well done. Get a vocalist. Walk outside, grab one, pull them in, and get them to sing on your track. It's just that easy. All right, this looks interesting. Black Dog Xander Neil Flip. Okay. Okay, this sounds like I'm on a tropical island and I'm really hot and I'm just like I walk under a waterfall and it's like trickling on me and it's cooling me off. This is so soothing. Man, this is so good. Like, this is just so good. I think I don't know. I don't know what advice to give you. I could not make something this good. This the mastering could be challenging. I don't mind the sound of it. It doesn't sound as quiet as it looks. And I wonder if trying to bring those peaks down and everything else up is going to ruin the sound of the track. I mean, we can try right now. Like, I think it's just a little too dynamic. Maybe a little sub heavy, maybe. Yeah, I don't think that ruined it at all, actually. Hey, they sent me a wave, so I mean I could just render this out. I think just master it. Bring your kick down, bring your sub down. I think the kick, I know it's kind of like that's the vibe, like the kick comes and everything gets out of the way and it comes back in and kind of gives it that pumpy kind of sucking feel, I guess. But I do think that maybe just controlling the dynamics a little bit more. Because it feels more glued together to me now. Because we're not really going for loudness with this style of track. You know, you don't want that like Skrillex level of loudness. But I do think that there is something to be said about the glue that happens when you send everything through the mastering process. Yeah, master it, render and sender, baby. That's a really good song. I really like that. All right, let me take off my mastering effects before we do the last song here. This one definitely doesn't need the same level of mastering by the looks of things. Let's undo all of this real quick. Bloop, 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 and you. Okay. Bleed, too late. Here we go. Okay, so far so good. The kick, maybe hold off on the low end of the kick, like the sub, because it kind of is by itself. Maybe just try to have the punch of the kick, but not the thump of it.
When the wall gave in and the roof comes crashing down, you know it's too late. When you call up for help but there's nobody else around, you know it's too late. When the wall gave in and the roof comes crashing down, you know it's too late. When you call up for help but there's nobody else around, you know it's too late.
This is really good. Musically, this is really good. The vocals are getting a little lost, I think.
When the wall gave in, I just to find myself.
I'm not convinced that the snare sounds that you've chosen are necessarily the best.
Check my watch as time is running out. I feel it slip away. Despite my best intentions, I'm always running late. I check the mirror just to find myself, but
Yeah, I think that also there's something that makes the kick and the snare kind of sit on top.
check my watch as time's running out. I feel it slip away. Despite my best intentions, I'm always running late. I check the mirror just to find myself, but I don't see a thing.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the love. So I think he said that these are his vocals, which is dope. The vocals sound great. Like the performance, I just find that they're kind of chugging along, and sometimes I feel like I've done stuff with my own vocals, and sometimes it's kind of hard to shine the spotlight on them because you're self-conscious, or like, you're a little like, oosh, I want to hide some of that underneath the track. But I do feel like the vocals they don't feel as important in the mix as they should. Like mix wise, they feel less important than the rest of the track. That was cool.
When the wall gave in and the roof comes crashing down, you know it's too late. When you call,
It's kind of the same. I have a bit of the same feedback as the Hirith. I don't know. I really got to study on how to pronounce your name, Jacob. I'm sorry. Anyway, the vocals were in the mix with all the other elements, and it was just a bit too like, whoa, like there's a lot happening right now, right? So maybe even just having your vocals over here, like have the vocals where they can shine a bit better.
when the wall gave in and the roof comes crashing.
And then, you could have the verse, or like the more complex passages of words happen without the drum beat and stuff. And then maybe there's a hook, or there's one little tagline at the end of the verse that you repeat at the start of each bar or something, and it echoes out. And that way you can now bring attention to the drum beat that's coming in, as opposed to like basically you've brought in too much stuff all at the same time. And that's another piece of advice that somebody gave me a long time ago, or I saw in a video or something, was that like you want to try and introduce things one at a time as much as possible. And that doesn't necessarily mean one element of it at a time, but say you have like 3 elements that all kind of go together, like bring them in at one moment, so that we have a chance to hear this new element and pay attention and digest it. And then we move to the next part of the song, and now we get the new thing that we can hear and digest and understand it, as opposed to throwing it all at us.
When the wall gave in and the roof comes.
Yeah, okay, so you bring in the big drums, you bring in the bass, and you bring in the lead and the vocals all at the same time, and I think that is maybe contributing to why I don't feel like the vocals are important in the mix. So if you moved your vocals over, and just like, your vocals sound good, man. I know, try to be self-aware, like I'm self-conscious about these vocals, but they sound good, even though I'm like cringing, like they don't sound bad. And that's something as a singer slash producer slash mixer, like you have to kind of get used to working with your own vocals. But yeah, bring the vocals up in the mix.
Check my watch as time is running out. I feel it slip away. Despite my
Maybe I want the snare to ring out a little longer, have a little bit of reverb or something. Maybe that's what's bothering me about the snare when it comes into it.
check my watch as time is running out. I feel
Yeah. Yeah, like if the snare rang out a little bit longer, I think the drums are a little too like punchy, like they're there for, 20 milliseconds and they're gone.
Check my butt out, but there's no time to find a scrap of decency in the wreck you made of me, babe.
See, this is what I was talking about. If you had like your more complex verse on top of the stripped down music, and then you had that one line that echoes out, you can then
Too late. Won't give in. Oh, you know it's too late.
and if that it's too late, if that was like here instead, I think it's almost like you're putting the vocals in in almost like the worst parts, because you have buried them underneath all of the other elements, and maybe again that might be like a subconscious thing that you're doing, but like the vocals are good. Let them cut through the mix, let them do what they're supposed to do, and be proud of it, because it's a cool track, man. Cool vocals. Yeah, get the arrangement down, get the mix down. So that's actually it, and we're almost at an hour and a half, which I think is probably like a pretty good spot. So there's some really good tracks this week. I don't want to say my expectations are low, but like every time I listen to the tracks you guys send in, I'm just like, damn, that's better than I expected. So good job, everybody. You guys are killing it. How is that Got My Game Boy song going? I haven't touched it since the video that I made, so not good. But I am working on some stuff, some stuff I'm pretty happy with. My full-length album has kind of got put on the back burner because I've had some big jobs come upon me. But yeah, lots of stuff coming up. I think this year is going to be a big year for me, so I'm happy to share that with you guys. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you guys next week, hearing what you've been up to. I really enjoy hanging out with you and taking a listen to what you're doing. This is the most music I listen to throughout the week. That isn't my own, so it's kind of a nice break. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, learned something. I will see you next week. Bye.